The Salem Witch Trials: Fear, Justice, and the Fight for Rights. 1692, a year of chaos in Salem Village, a small town in Massachusetts, a place where superstition, fear, and even religious beliefs collided in a fiery storm, setting off one of the most infamous chapters in American history, the Salem Witch Trials. But here's the big question. What happens when the community lets fear override reason? And how did the Salem Witch Trials shape early American idols about rights and responsibility? The Salem Witch Trials didn't just happen out of nowhere. They were fueled by fear, superstition, and society on edge. In 1692, Salem Village was a Puritan community, a place where religion ruled, and the devil was as real as the weather. But like anything built on rigid beliefs, this town was about to crack under pressure. It all started with a group of girls in Salem, Abigail Williams, Betty Paris, and others who started acting weird, screaming, convulsing, and claiming they were possessed. These girls, mostly teenagers, started accusing people of being witches, and because Salem was a place where people were terrified of anything supernatural, everyone starts freaking out. People are suddenly blaming each other for things like crop failures, bad weather, and even just being too quiet in church. Reverend Samuel Paris, the town minister, and other religious leaders believed the devil was real and that witches had to be rooted out to protect the community. So these accusations weren't just random. People believed that these girls had been targeted by witches to bring about the apocalypse. And just like that, fear took over. Here's the crazy part. In Salem, if you were accused of being a witch, you didn't really get the right to defend yourself. Imagine being told you're a witch with zero proof. You'd be like, wait, hold up. I ain't even cast a single spell. But no, that didn't matter. In fact, the only thing that could save you was naming someone else as a witch. Total chaos. The trials completely ignored the rights of the accused. Now in today's world, we know that every person is innocent until proven guilty, right? If you were accused, you're presumed guilty unless you have to prove your innocence. An impossible task. The accused were tortured, coerced into confession, and sometimes even killed, all without the most basic legal protections. There were no fair trials, no right to a lawyer, and no assumption of innocence. Most of those accused were women, but men weren't safe either. The trials were a witch hunt in the truest sense. It didn't matter if you had evidence or not. Fear and personal grudges were enough to sentence someone to death. And the punishment? Well, it was severe. 20 people were executed, most by hanging, others pressed to death with large stones. How? Because of the accusations based on a little more than superstition. So who is responsible for this madness? The leaders in Salem played a huge role. Reverend Samuel Paris started the flames of fear. Even his niece and daughter were among the first to accuse others of witchcraft. And guess what? Paris wasn't exactly backing down. He was all in on the witch hunt. Then there were the judges, like Samuel Sewall. They could have said, wait a minute, let's not execute people based on rumor. But instead, they went along with it. His role was to make sure justice was done. But instead, the trials became a weapon to punish anyone accused of witchcraft. The thing is, these leaders didn't seem to question the system until it was too late. These leaders failed in their responsibilities. Instead of protecting the rights of the people, they fed into their frenzies, letting mass hysteria and personal vengeance shape decisions. And that's one of the most chilling lessons of Salem. When those in power neglect their duties, the entire justice system can collapse. Here's where things get really messed up. If we're talking about responsibilities, the people of Salem also played a part. Instead of questioning the accusations, the town quickly turned on each other. Imagine living in a community where your neighbor could accuse you of witchcraft over a grudge. The people of Salem had a responsibility to stand up for justice and fairness. Instead, fear ran the show, and too many people jumped on the accusation bandwagon. It was a perfect storm of ignorance and intolerance. The Salem Witch Trials, a dark chapter in history, but a chapter that in the end helped teach us a crucial lesson. Justice must always be served with fairness, reason, and a deep respect for the rights of all people. But by fall of 1692, the winds began to change. Public opinion started to shift. Leaders like Reverend and Crease Mather began to question the use of spectral evidence, aka ghostly sightings and visions. As a valid reason for conviction, people started to see how the trials were being used to settle personal grudges and destroy lives based on unfounded fear. By October of that year, the trials came to an abrupt halt. The governor of Massachusetts, William Phipps, intervened after his own wife was accused. The trials were officially ended, but the damage was done. The Salem witch trials were over, but the scars remained. 20 lives lost, families torn apart, and a town forever marked by the events of 1692. But the legacy of the Salem witch trials wasn't just about death. It taught people about justice, rights, and the importance of not letting fear control you. The trials changed the course of American law. They helped to shape the modern legal system we know today, one based on the protection of individual rights and the importance of a fair trial. In fact, the Salem witch trials highlighted just how fragile the balance between rights and responsibilities can be, and how easily it can be tipped by fear and hysteria. In the end, the Salem witch trials stand as a warning. When we forget the importance of justice and the protection of rights, history can repeat itself. But they also remind us that change is possible, and that with reflection, we can create a better, fairer society for everyone.